Main characters in gacha games are notorious for their low power levels. While in story and cutscenes, these characters display awe-inspiring power and capability, their gameplay oftentimes leaves a lot to be desired. However, one main character in one game stands out above the rest. Good old Rover the Reliable, Spectro Edition. While unfortunately immediately overshadowed by their taller, darker, and handsomer Havoc version, we can expect Spectro Rover to make a resurgence on players' rosters for one simple reason. In 1.1 with Jinhsi, a rumored Spectro damage dealer released potentially alongside Spectro Rover's last two sequence nodes, we can hopefully expect a lot of synergy between the two, especially those building teams and compositions on a budget. Today I'll be going over Spectro Rover's kit, specifically the nuances in their playstyle, important skill upgrades, best echo sets, and weapons, so that you can take full advantage of your first free Sequence Node 6 5-star. If you're enjoying this content, please like and subscribe. Spectro Rover, at their best, is a sub-DPS that provides a blend of burst damage and sustain to their teams. Their biggest draws include front-loaded damage through their Forte Bar and Resonance Liberation, alongside their off-field utility and healing. Their Forte Bar works hand in hand with their Resonance skill. Casting their Resonance skill with more than 50% of their Forte Bar will consume 50% of it to empower that cast of their Resonance skill. Spectro Rover can follow up this enhanced Resonance skill with an enhanced basic attack that deals additional damage as Resonance skill damage. These empowered combos generate a lot of concerto energy, almost 180% more than a regular skill cast. With that low cooldown of 6 seconds on Spectro Rover's skill, players should be looking for these empowered casts as often as possible for the smoothest team rotations. You can generate this Forte Bar from just regular basic and heavy attacks, but players can get a lot more by utilizing Spectro Rover's intro skill or their enhanced heavy attack. This enhanced heavy attack can be used by using 2 consecutive heavy attacks, or by delaying your 4th basic attack after basic attack 3 until your spinning sword is at its furthest distance from the character. A third way to use this attack is through a dodge counter. With more empowered casts, there's also more resonance energy, which goes hand in hand with their liberation. This ability is a simple, low cast time AoE nuke that can be easily weaved into regular combos. When it comes to their baseline damage boosting capabilities, Spectro Rover unfortunately has none. Rather than boosting some type of damage like other sub-DPS characters like Mordefi or Sanhua, Spectro Rover instead creates a stasis zone around the switched-in party member, which slows down the actions of enemies around them. This outro skill is particularly strong with characters who have long, easily interrupted animations like Calcharo or Encore. These characters oftentimes have to dodge cancel out of their highest damaging moves to avoid big hits from enemies, which allows the stasis to help mitigate some of those weaknesses in their kit. When it comes to Rover's skill upgrades, it's all personal damage boosts, with an increase to their empowered basic attack following their empowered resonance skill, and a 15% attack boost after casting their empowered heavy attack. On the other hand, with their sequence nodes, they do flip the script a little bit. Rover's first 2 sequence nodes are entirely personal damage focused, with increases to crit rate after casting either version of their resonance skill and a 20% spectro damage increase. S3 smooths out the rotations by providing additional energy regeneration, while S4 on the other hand provides a team-wide heal after casting their resonance liberation based off Rover's attack. S5 is another big personal damage boost to the Resonance Liberation, while S6, the big one, causes both their Resonance skills to inflict a 10% spectral damage resistance debuff on the enemy. This S6 makes them incredibly competitive as a support for any spectral damage dealer. Wish we had one. When it comes to their equipment, specifically their Echo, main, and substats, there are different approaches a player can take depending on which role they want them to play on teams. Spectro Rover's entire kit scales off attack, with a fair amount of built-in damage and critical rate bonuses, alongside that built-in heal at sequence node 4. A player focused on Rover's raw spectral damage output can equip the Celestial Light Sonata set with a critical 4 cost, spectral damage 3 costs, and attack 1 costs, with a focus on maxing critical stats, attack, resonance liberation damage, and energy regeneration. Those looking to leverage that healing ability can instead equip the Rejuvenating Glow Sonata set. With the low cost of Spectro Rover's Resonance Liberation and their built-in energy regeneration, a player can easily maintain uptime on this set. Players can use the same main and substat priorities as the Celestial Light set, leaning towards a healer/sub DPS hybrid build, or rotate completely into support by equipping a healing bonus 4 cost and a combination of energy regeneration and attack in the 3 cost slot. With the Bell Turtle Echo, you can reasonably utilize Spectro Rover as a solo sustain with the right echoes. The third set is recommended if you already have a Rejuvenating Glow holder on the team, like Verena, and you still want them to play a bit of a supportive role. Moonlit Clouds works fantastically with Spectro Rover's high Concerto energy generation and their outro skill, providing a massive attack and damage bonus to the switched-in character that lets them take full advantage of Stasis's time slowdown. If using this set, a player should ideally go for a full damage build outlined earlier, with potential to swap in an energy percentage main stat on their 3 cost for more Concerto energy uptime. When it comes to weapons, Spectro Rover has many different options. Those looking for the fastest rotations possible will get a lot of mileage from Scale Slasher. This weapon generates additional Concerto energy, but unfortunately has a very low base attack, which will hurt Rover's personal DPS. Other 4-star recommendations that are more damage oriented include Commando of Conviction and Lunar Cutter, which both provide an attack bonus when entering the field and a lot of attack on their main stats. Commando of Conviction has more strict activation conditions, but a better buff, while Lunar Cutter has a weaker, more flexible buff. For the budget options, Sword of Voyager is the only recommendation I can make, and specifically only for a support rover. This weapon can help smooth out rotations with its resonance energy regeneration, but also suffers from a low base attack. When it comes to premium options, Spectro Rover really only works great with one of them. Emerald of Genesis is an obscene stat stick, providing all of the stats that a sub DPS rover is looking for, with built-in crit, energy regeneration, and an attack buff upon casting their resonance skill. With Rover's incredibly short cooldown of 6 seconds on their skill, they have a huge amount of synergy with this weapon. Luminglass, the BP weapon, unfortunately highlights basic and heavy attack damage, which isn't a huge emphasis for Rover's damage profile. Overall, Spectro Rover offers unique role consolidation while also providing one of the most unique debuffs in the game through their outro skill. Depending on your weapons and team requirements, they can flex into a wide variety of different builds that emphasize sustain, buffing, or raw personal damage. They have, in my opinion, some of the highest potential out of all the characters on the roster. They just haven't been given the tools that they need to shine just yet. I'm confident that they're a character that will only get better with age. Hopefully, this short and sweet overview of the MC's capabilities has highlighted the massive upside they can bring to teams. Their best-in-slot team is likely something that we'll be seeing in the near future. I am beyond excited for 1.1 and the potential synergies that this character will have to new additions on the roster. Till then, peace out.